History loves a hero. It loves the image of the rugged pioneer, standing defiant against the harsh unknown. It is a comforting lie. The reality of Feros is not a story of human resilience. It is a corporate balance sheet written in blood. To understand the crime, you must understand the criminal. ExoGeni is not merely a colonization outfit. They are the leading supplier of colonial infrastructure in the Attican Traverse. If you live on a human colony, you sleep in an ExoGeni prefab unit. You drink water filtered by ExoGeni membranes. You rely on their walls to keep the vacuum out. This ubiquity is their camouflage. When they petitioned the Citadel Council for rights to Feros, they cited humanitarian expansion. They claimed they wanted to turn a graveyard world into a beacon of hope. The Council, eager to see humans occupy the dangerous Skyllian verge, stamped the papers without a second glance. But my agents have recovered the initial survey scans. ExoGeni didn't pick Feros for the view. They picked it because the Prothean ruins were uniquely preserved. Most Prothean cities were glassed by the Reapers. Feros was left standing. Why? Because the Thorian was there first, and even the Reapers calculated that destroying the city would not destroy the organism beneath it. ExoGeni didn't buy a planet, they bought a cage, complete with the monster inside. Consider the logistics of colonization, the expense, the risk. ExoGeni Corporation is not a charity. They are a publicly traded entity on the Citadel Exchange, beholden to shareholders who demand quarterly growth. Why, then, would they bankroll a settlement on a world covered in debris, inhabited by nothing but the decaying skeletons of a dead empire? The official narrative claims Jews' Hope was a venture to harvest Prothean technology, a scavenger's paradise. But look closer at the manifest. Look at the personnel. ExoGeni didn't send archaeologists. They sent biologists. They sent Gavin Hossel. They sent Juliana Bainham. They weren't there for the buildings. They were there for the tenant. The Prothean ruins were merely the containment vessel. The true asset was buried beneath the colony, intertwined with the very foundations of the skyscraper. An apex predator that had survived the Reapers, the Protheans, and 50,000 years of starvation. The colonists of Jews' Hope believe they are survivors. They are incorrect. They are lab rats in a maze designed by accountants. Every prefab housing unit, every water filtration system, every power cell retrieval mission, it was all calibrated to maintain the optimal environment for species 37, the Thorian. Ethan Jong knew, the ExoGeni representative on site. While Phi Dan struggled to keep morale high, Jong was filing reports on infection rates. He wasn't protecting the colonists from the Geth. He was protecting the experiment from the variables. When the Geth attacked, Jong's panic wasn't for human life. It was for corporate property. And in his ledger, the humans and the furniture were listed under the same asset class.
I'm telling you, the pressure is fluctuating wildly. And the color. There's a green sediment in the filters. I need to shut down the main line for a flush.
Negative, Ms. Doyle. The sediment is a mineral byproduct of the Prothean pipes. Totally harmless. Do not shut down the water. The colony needs hydration.
But it smells like ozone and rotted meat. People are getting sick, sir. The headaches.
The headaches are stress-induced. Leave the valves open. That is a direct order from Mr. Jong. If you tamper with the flow, you'll be in breach of your contract. Do you want to lose your share?
No, I need the credits.
Good. Keep the water flowing. They need to drink.
Let us analyze the asset. The Thorian is not a plant. It is a distinct botanical sentient hybrid, a localized telepathic network. It is ancient, predating the Prothean colonization of Feros. The Protheans studied it, perhaps even revered it, but they were smart enough to keep it contained. And the Reapers? They ignored it. The Reapers harvest technology. They hunt the hum of Element Zero. The Thorian is silence. A biological hard drive with no technology to harvest. It is the only sentient history of the galaxy that was not deleted. Humans, in their infinite arrogance, decided to build a bedroom on top of it. The mechanism of control is elegant in its biological simplicity. The Thorian releases microscopic spores into the air and, more critically, the water supply. These spores are inhaled or ingested by the subject. They do not kill, they integrate. They weave themselves into the host's nervous system, creating a secondary neural pathway, a receiver. Once infected, the subject is part of the collective. The Thorian can transmit pain signals directly to the pain receptors of the host. This is the headache Dan complained of. It is negative reinforcement. Disobey, and you suffer. Obey, and the pain recedes. It is the ultimate domestication of a sentient species. The presence of the alpha varin in the tunnels confirms that the Thorian does not discriminate by species. It dominates the local fauna just as easily as the colonists. Davin Reynolds thought he was hunting a dangerous animal. In reality, he was asking Commander Shepard to liquidate a rival biological weapon that the Thorian had lost control of, or perhaps one it was using to test the colony's defenses. And then there is the matter of the clones. The Thorian absorbs genetic material and replicates it. It created an Asari clone to speak to Shepard, a clone that possessed the memories, speech patterns, and even the biotic potential of the original. This capability effectively makes the Thorian an organic supercomputer, storing the genetic and memetic history of every being it consumes. This is what Saren Arterius came for. The Alliance reports describe the Geth attack on Feros as an act of war, a chaotic invasion. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of Geth methodology and Saren's tactical acumen. Saren does not conquer for the sake of territory. He conquers for data. The Geth did not bomb Zhu's Hope from orbit. They did not glass the planet. They deployed dropships. They set up jamming towers in the tunnels. They established a forward operating base inside the ExoGeni headquarters. Why? Because you do not bomb a library when you are trying to read a book. Saren needed the cipher. He knew that the Thorian had absorbed a Prothean, or perhaps many Protheans, during the last harvest. The Thorian held the cultural context required to understand the beacon's visions. Saren couldn't force the Thorian to talk. It was too vast, too alien. So he made a deal. He traded the lives of the colonists for the cipher. He gave the Thorian a new pet, the Asari Commando Shiala, in exchange for the Prothean genetic memory she could facilitate. The Geth attack was merely the enforcement of this contract. They were there to ensure the Thorian delivered the goods, and subsequently, to destroy the evidence once Saren had what he needed. The Geth worship observed in the ExoGeni facility, the bowing to the glowing orb, was likely a localized interface. The Geth, as a consensus of AIs, were likely fascinated by the Thorian, an organic consensus, a biological Geth. They weren't just guarding it, they were studying it. We must address the nature of the cipher. Commander Shepard described it as a vision, a chaotic montage of slaughter. But it is far more clinical than that. 50,000 years ago, the Protheans on Feros realized the end was coming. The Reapers had arrived. The sky was burning. Cut off from their empire, starving and desperate, the Protheans turned to the only power left on the planet, the Thorian. They did not fight it, they fed it. The cipher is not magic, it is digestion. The Thorian absorbed the essence of Prothean scientists, generals, and thinkers. It broke down their genetic material and stored their memories in its neural lattice. Imagine a library burning down, and the librarian decides to eat the books to save the stories. That is what happened on Feros. Saren understood this. He knew that the Thorian was a living museum of the Prothean extinction. When Shepard received the cipher from Shiala, he wasn't just seeing images. He was downloading the raw panic of a dying species, preserved in plant matter for 50 centuries. It is a miracle the human mind did not shatter under the weight of that sorrow.
Broker, I've intercepted a packet from the Feros relay. It's highly irregular. It's marked with ExoGeni encryption, but the routing is amateur. It's coming from a refugee camp.
Identify the sender, Spectre.
One Gavin Hossel, lead researcher. He's selling a data cache on the extranet. Claims it's experimental mod schematics. But I've cracked the header. It's not weapon specs, Broker. It's physiological data. Human physiological data.
The Thorian infection trials?
Affirmative. Detailed neural mapping of the colonists under stage 3 influence. Pain response charts. Spore gestation rates. He's selling the test results of Jew's Hope to the highest bidder. Cerberus is already pinging the auction.
Hossel, the man who asked Commander Shepard to retrieve his work while his colleagues were being slaughtered by Geth. He didn't want to save the data for science. He wanted his golden parachute.
Shall I intercept?
No. Let the sale proceed. Trace the buyers. If Cerberus wants the recipe for mind control spores, I want to know where they plan to bake the cake. Inspector, flag Gavin Hossel as a person of interest. If he survives Feros, he may be useful or expendable.
Understood. Spectre out.
Let us examine the Creepers, the Thorians' ground troops. Physically, they are barely recognizable as their original species. The bone structure is liquefied, replaced by high-pressure hydraulic plant matter. This allows them to move with an erratic, lurching speed that confuses standard targeting VIs. But their true lethality is not physical. It is psychological. Observe the footage. The Creepers do not take cover. They do not retreat. They are biomass to be spent. When they vomit that corrosive enzymatic fluid, they are expelling their own digestive acids. They are literally consuming themselves to dissolve their enemies. This is what ExoGeni wanted to weaponize. A soldier that costs nothing to feed, feels no pain, and is willing to digest its own organs to kill a target. It is the perfect disposable infantry. My analysis of the combat logs shows that standard kinetic barriers are useless against their acid attacks. Shepard survived because he is an outlier. But imagine a standard Alliance Marine platoon facing a swarm of 10,000 creepers in an enclosed environment. It would not be a battle. It would be mulch. The resolution of the Feros crisis, assuming Commander Shepard was competent enough to spare the colonists, leaves us with a fascinating biological anomaly. Shiala, formerly a disciple of Benezia, formerly a thrall of Saren, now something else entirely. The Thorian did not just possess her, it rewrote her. Her green pigmentation is not cosmetic. It is a sign of cellular hybridization. She is a walking repository of the Thorian's genetic memory and the Prothean cipher. Shepard received the cipher from her, a transfer of pure knowledge that nearly incapacitated a Spectre. But Shiela retained it. She remains on Feros, ostensibly to help the colonists rebuild. But why? The colonists are infected. The Thorian is dead, yes, but the spores remain in their systems. Or rather, the head is dead. Shepard severed a sensory node, not the root. The Thorian biomass permeates the entire crust of Feros. The central intelligence is shattered, but the web remains. They share a lingering connection. Shiela describes it as a sense of the others. They fight with perfect coordination. They move as one. The Thorian is gone, but the network survives. Shiela is now the server node for the Zhu's Hope Collective. She is the queen of a hive mind that no longer has a king. ExoGeni knows this. If the colony survives, they haven't lost their experiment. They've simply moved to Phase 2. A self-regulating, spore-infected population led by a powerful biotic hybrid. The potential for a localized militia that acts with a single will is strategically significant. Furthermore, our hacks into the ExoGeni server nodes reveal that Feros was not an isolated incident. Subject 37 samples were shipped to facilities on Nodocrux. The Thorian creepers found there prove that ExoGeni was weaponizing the spores for export. They were building an army of mindless, pain-compliant soldiers. Feros was just the factory.
You smell of dead machines, cold metal. You are not the creators. I am the future, and I don't have time for riddles, old growth. I know you hold the cipher. The Protheans touched your mind. I want what they left behind. Knowledge has a price. Meat, flesh. The Protheans gave us tribute. I offer you better than tribute. I offer you survival. The machines are returning. They will burn this world and your roots with it. Give me the cipher, and I will ensure they overlook this garden. The cipher is deep. It requires a vessel. Take the Asari. She is weak. Her mind is pliable. Fill her with your secrets. Once I have verified the data, she is yours to keep, along with the humans. A fair trade. The Asari smells sweet. Just ensure the transfer is complete. I will have my Geth secure the perimeter. No one gets in. No one gets out.
Note the transactional nature. Saren did not conquer Feros. He hired it. Feros is a graveyard of ethics. The pioneers are victims of industrial-scale biological experimentation. The hero, Commander Shepard, was merely a variable that ExoGeni failed to account for. The corporation is vulnerable. The evidence of the Thorian project, the Nodocrux shipments, and the willful infection of the water supply is enough to dissolve their charter. We will sell this evidence to the Alliance and to ExoGeni's competitors. The Thorian spores are viable. Any biological material leaving Feros must be tracked. If a sample reaches the Terminus systems, we could see Thorian thrall armies within the year. Saren has it. Shepard has it. Shiala has it. The Prothean knowledge is no longer lost. It is proliferating. The narrative of Zoo's Hope is a fairy tale for children and politicians. The truth is much simpler. On Feros, the humans were the fertilizer.